Camera 3,
Rolling.
camera 1.
Roaring.
This is Traveller's World, where every episode takes you to new destinations and uncovers incredible travel stories. I'm your host, David Barrett, and today we're joined by an extraordinary traveller who has embarked on some truly remarkable adventures. Let's get started. Presented in partnership with Travel Daily News Asia Pacific, welcome to this latest episode of Traveller's World. Phillips, you were born in Chicago. You went to Singapore, which I think you're based now, and you've had these most amazing travel experiences. I heard you're in the top 30 most travelled people at this particular event. What inspired you to travel?
You know, I think the thing that first jump-started it was that when I was growing up, my sister and my parents wouldn't let us go anywhere overseas until we were 18. Because that travel was wasted on kids. So we did the Great American Road Trip, that type of thing, but never had that opportunity. So by the time you reach that age, the pent-up demand was there and had to go everywhere. And then the opportunity to work overseas, which I had always kind of been attracted to anyway, provided even more opportunities to fuel that. So I built my own list for many years, chasing the 193 like you hear everybody about doing these days.
And did you achieve that? Have you clocked up?
I have, yes, I did. I achieved that in 2008, so about 16 years ago for my 50th birthday. But it was based on my own list. I never knew anything about any of these people or any travel groups up until then, until literally the day that I finished. And almost on the day that I finished, I discovered Charles Veely, discovered Harry Macedas, who've become friends, and now I know all about everything, all the other regions, and that's what I'm chasing now.
Of all the 193 nations that you visited, which one would you be happiest not revisiting?
Guinea-Bissau, my last, and the Comoros probably. Not particularly redeeming characteristics. I really don't have a problem with most countries. I have enjoyed most visits. Everything has something to offer, but those two weren't very pleasant.
Have you ever felt your personal safety being threatened in a place amongst all your travels?
Yeah, but not to the extent that I think some other travelers have had some scary experiences. My last trip, you may have heard, I was returning from Ibiza back to Singapore, and I spent a day in a Somali prison, so that was very unpleasant, but I wouldn't, well, perhaps I'm just too numb.
I heard about that. Can you tell us the story of how you ended up in a Somali prison?
Well, when you're in Europe and you have to come back to Singapore, what's more logical than to make a stop along the way? So when you're a crazy traveler like I am, and like these people are that you see around us today, Somalia and the missing region in Puntland is kind of beckoning to you like a lighthouse. So we took the opportunity to use some miles and to stop off there. But unfortunately, the documents that I had, they didn't like very much, and perhaps I looked a little bit too sketchy as a solo traveler arriving without a tour group. So, yeah, I had to stay in detention and go through quite a number of interrogations and talk my way out of it eventually through the help of my affiliations with MTP and Noma Mania.
I see travelling the world as an adventure, but also can be quite lonely. Do you feel that travel can compromise relationships with partners and families and friends?
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, usually if you are serious about this travel and pursuing these goals, whether they be, for country collecting or region collecting or festivals or particular types of, adventure sports, whatever your thing is, you're going to piss other people off along the way, whether it's your employer or the people you have relationships with or your friends. But you have to balance that and see. The traveling that I do these days, tends to be a balance, a mixture of solo travel and with, people that I care about. So, yeah, makes it worthwhile.
When I travel, I always think I have to pack to prepare, and I end up with 20 or 30 kilos. How do you travel? With a suitcase or a backpack?
I used to travel not very light. I would pack for every eventuality, but actually for most of my life, I've been working very hard. My career has been equally important to me, so I've been doing many short trips over the years, never more than maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and usually just long weekends. So for those, you can pack fairly lightly, and you can go in and out and here and there. Recently, as I've become older, and since COVID, I've been going on multi-month trips, so up to 2 and 3 months sometimes. Those are the very challenging ones. When you have to pack for an overland driving trip in Russia and Antarctica and Ibiza in the same trip, right? So it requires a lot of planning.
And it's not necessarily staying in luxury hotels and having comfort.
I think most of the people you talk to here today are not going to be saying that. You do that with the people that you travel with that enjoy that kind of experience once in a while, but it's not necessary. You'll talk to some of the friends that I travel with, and they'll tell you that I travel so hard and fast and want to see as much as possible during the waking hours that I don't even like to stop to eat. So, yeah.
With all the 193 that you've achieved, what would be one of the most memorable moments you've had traveling? Like a standout moment where you thought, aha, this is why I travel.
I think really the festivals that you have the opportunity to participate in or to witness, and those can be things like Day of the Dead in Oaxaca or Inti Raymi in Peru, which is the winter solstice, La Fallas in Valencia, the fire festival. These types of things which are so strongly integrated into both the local culture and people and environment, they have a really deep impact. I can't single one out, but they're all fabulous.
With all the travel, as well, we all eat and enjoy food, but as a foodie, what would be standout destinations for you that have been the tastiest places to visit?
Oh, like I said, I don't care about food at all.
Yeah, you're just
if it were up to me, I barely eat at all. I'm more interested in travel, seeing and experiencing things and doing as much as I can.
But don't you think But don't you think culture is also represented through the cuisines?
It can be. And you take advantage of those opportunities when there's a distinct, opportunity there, whether it's the pig's blood in Tanacharaja or the scorpions or the fried caterpillars in Mexico. Yeah, okay, you're going to try it. But I'm a little more hesitant these days also because you realize how sometimes those decisions can impact your ability to travel for the next few days or weeks if you make the wrong choice.
What would your recommendation be to somebody that's starting out on this Chasing 193 to travel the world? What would your recommendation be to them?
I think to have your own set of goals, your own experience, not to be unduly swayed by the Instagrammability or the social networking and sponsorship opportunities that are quite prevalent now. I think more about your heart and about really what you want to do this for, and to gather something meaningful about it, out of it, and give something back. Hopefully, not just be exploitation.
How can we follow your travels? Do you have a website? Do you have a blog? Do you have social
media?
Yeah.
Facebook, not very visible on Instagram, but Facebook, yes, or my own website, which is madexpat.com. Yeah. I'm no longer an expat. I'm a Singapore citizen for 15 years, but that's still my go-to point.
And lastly, what's one of the funniest moments you've had, hilarious in travel, that may not have been funny at the time, but you look back and you think that was maybe being put in jail in Somalia?
Well, I'd like to tell this story about when we were hiking in the Dogon territory of Mali 25 years ago. And we had started out very early in the morning because we had a very long hike up the escarpment. It was 52 degrees, so almost 127 degrees Fahrenheit. So at lunchtime, we'd only made it halfway and we were flagging, and our very enthusiastic guides were saying, yes, we got this great thing. We're going to go up to the ancestors' tombs. And so we're all asking, okay, is it really worth it? And is it hard? Is it going to be difficult? How do we prepare ourselves psychologically and physically because we're already spent? And he said, well, it's easy, but it's deadly, meaning that It wasn't particularly steep, but it was maybe only a 2-inch ledge, and if you took the wrong step, you would fall to your certain death. So that became the motto of the rest of the trip. Easy but deadly.
Oh my goodness. Where's next? You're in Bangkok for this extraordinary travel festival. Where is your wish list of places to visit next?
Well, these days I travel mainly for events, for particular celebrations or friends or family things that you have to do, and then we string along regions along the way. So, hence the Somalia thing, because it was convenient. I'll do, because I'm going back to Singapore from here after this, I will do the Andaman Islands for a few days after Bangkok with another travel friend from here. So that recently became very accessible from KL. There's now a direct flight, so it's good.
Thank you so much for being with us today for Traveller's World at the Extraordinary Travel Festival. Keep travelling, keep creating these stories. We'll follow you on the website and on Facebook. And congratulations on achieving 193 many, many years ago and being in the top 30.
Thank you so much, David. Yeah, pleasure to talk to you.
Cut.